Alright, so here is going to be a tutorial on how to put a brake on your E2-110. This is the E2-110. Don't mind that there are no buckles here. We have stripped them off. This is a warranty skate, but that shouldn't matter for this case. This is also the left skate. Most people put their brakes on the right, but the brake is interchangeable. It can go either way. Really, you want to put the brake on whatever foot is your strongest foot. For most people, it's the right, but you know, for today's instruction, this is the left skate, but it will be the same exact instructions no matter what skate you're using. So to get started, you're going to need, for the tools today, you're just going to need one Allen wrench. This is just a 4mm standard inline skate tool, pretty much the universal standard across the industry. 4mm is it. Should have gotten one with your skates. If you don't have one, you know, any hardware store, again, 4mm. You're also going to obviously need your brake. This is what it looks like. I'll kind of go into further detail about, like, you know, what the different parts can do and where they kind of fit into. But then also you're going to need your brake axle, which looks a lot like your regular axle, but it's a little bit longer. And then also there is a hole on that end where a screw is going to go in on the other side. So to get started, you're going to want to take out your back wheel just to make life a little bit easier, but also you're going to need to get rid of that axle. So unscrew that. Same thing, 4mm Allen wrench. You don't need this anymore, but I would put it to the side. I always keep my axles. I have a toolbox full of just parts and whatnot. You never know when you might lose one, strip one, you know, just need to replace it. Always good to have them on hand. Don't ever get rid of them. Take your wheel out, just put it off to the side for right now. It'll just make it a little bit easier to put the brake on without it being there. So when you take the brake, you're going to notice that there's these little kind of like notches right there, and that's going to fit into this part of the frame. So on either side, there's going to be a hole right here, and then there's one on the other side, and that's just kind of going to sit in there and like give something to pull against. So when you're braking, you know, it's going to like, it's not going to pull off, right? So they just kind of hook right into the inside of this frame right here. You might have to pull the housing apart a little bit just to kind of get it in there, but it should snap in there when it does, and then it should line up with the holes on the back here, just like that. So your axle is going to go through here and into the other side. So don't think I included this in with the parts part, but this is a washer, and I'll show you where that goes. It kind of just sits right in there, just as it's a washer. So take your wheel, you want to put that back in, line that up. You're going to take one of those washers. They look like this. You should have one for either side. You know, they fit right into the grooves in the support right there. And you're going to take the longer, the axle piece, okay? So that's going to go through the brake, through the wheel, and then it's going to thread into the other side, just like how this one did. This one, so the E2 uses we call our race axles, which they thread directly into the frame. So same thing with this brake axle, is going to thread directly into this frame. So once you get that through and lined up, you just want to turn that, tighten that down. Don't go too much, just kind of, basically I turn it until you get a little bit of resistance, and then just give it another like eighth of a turn to a quarter of a turn. If you turn it too tight, your wheel's not going to spin. So make sure it's tight, obviously, but don't be too tight. Don't be cranking down on it because the wheel won't spin. So really, the brake's in there. It's not going anywhere. But you want to put that screw in on the other side just to kind of give it a little bit extra, you know, hold for you, so it doesn't go, it definitely doesn't go anywhere. So same thing with the other side, you're going to put that washer in. Same thing, those washers look exactly the same, so you can put one on the other side and the other on the other. There is no difference between them. So same thing, that's going to fit right into your brake. I'll try to hold that in there so it doesn't fall out. There we go. So you can see through that, and you can kind of see the hole right there that the screw is going to thread right into. So all you gotta do is just thread that back in. You don't need another Allen key for the other side because it's already threaded into the frame. So all you're doing is just turning this in tighten that down. Again, you kind of just keep turning it. So now it's tight. I just give a little bit extra, and that should be good. Spin the wheel, make sure that spins freely. It does. And now your brake's on. And that's pretty much the entire process of how you do that. So yeah, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. You can reach out to Rollerblade, us, and we're always happy to answer them. So yeah, hopefully that was pretty straightforward, and you can get your brake on and get out skating. All right, see ya.